How you going, people? I don't know if this video should be tactics for revolution or there's all kind of good little intel things in here, and hopefully I'll watch it a couple times so I can kind of remember. But I'll put a link to this video if you want to watch the whole video without me. It's only four or 5 minutes, but it'll be in the description. So this video is from the Pentagon, and what they're showing
the
about
future is urban. By 2030, urban areas are expected to grow by 1.4 billion.
Okay, so the Pentagon and our government is saying that urban areas are going to grow. Well, why are they going to grow? Well, people aren't dying and we're living longer. But the other reason it's going to grow is because we have open borders and we're bringing in more takers, and we're allowing people to come in and flood our schools with non-English speaking, so our kids can't get a good education. When you only have 10 jobs and you allow 1,000 people to come in for those 10 jobs, what happens to the other 990 people? Well, they become takers. They want government aid. They want assistance. They want free medical. They use resources. They go to the bathroom in the streets. Look at San Francisco. They piss in the streets. Homeless grows. Welfare grows. Government dependency grows. So, I mean, for people who are running around, and it's mainly the damn liberal idiots who believe their mantra of blame George Bush, blame the Republicans, blame global warming, never blame liberal government for anything. They're running around saying we need more illegals. We need to take in more refugees. We need to have open borders. We shouldn't turn people away. At some point, you destroy your own country. And I just don't get how people can't see that. And the people that can't see it don't want to see it. They're too stupid to see it. They're not educated on the cause and effect. They're not educated on supply and demand. When supply goes down and demand goes up, you have issues, prices go up, and I mean, it's just all kind of issues that are kind of basic for someone that's been around, who's had a job, who's paid taxes, who understands that inflation, when prices rise at the grocery store and at the gas pumps, technically what's happening is their wage is going down. So the liberal fix is, if the government would just require a higher wage, that would fix that. And that has nothing to do with it. I mean, when your country has a limited amount of resources, whichever country has, and you flood it with people to absorb and take all those resources, at some point, there's a flipping point to where there's too many people that the country, and then you get overpopulated, sewage, pollution, all kind of things. And what the liberals are complaining about all this on one hand, on the other hand, they're flooding the country with illegals. I mean, it's just amazing that the Pentagon isn't showing this video to military people to say we're doing bad by letting illegals in. They're showing this so that we need to change and train our way of dealing with the masses, because the masses are growing. That's what this video is about. And it's sad that our government is more controlled about how we're going to control the problems we're creating, rather than let's not continue to create the problems that we're going to be unable to deal with in the future.
With that growth occurring almost entirely in the developing world, cities will account for 60% of the world's population and 70% of the world's GDP. The urban environment will be the locus where drivers of...
Okay, if you look at this picture, you have buildings, producers, people that go to work, pay taxes, hire people, have jobs, pay medical insurance. On this side, you have people that take. You have illegals. You have people that come in that don't want to work. You have people that take medical care. You have people that do not produce, that want money from the taxes. At some point, this side of the road cannot provide for this side of the road. So what happens? This side of the road takes over this side of the road. And then this side of the road ends up looking like this side of the road. To me, it's just basic common sense, but there's nothing common about common sense. And in today's, liberal environment with the media and the government, they don't want people to have common sense.
Stability will converge. It is the domain that by the year 2030, 60% of urban dwellers will...
Okay, urban dwellers. Okay, you see this train? You see these people on this train, these people. Notice all the women, all the liberal women claiming equal rights. Notice, oh, there's no woman. There's mainly adult males. How does that happen? Well, look at the way they're dressed. I wonder if these guys are Muslims. I wonder what country this is. I wonder what country they're fleeing from, and I wonder what country they're fleeing to. I wonder what country that they failed to plan and did the same ignorant shit by not controlling and limiting things and controlling their borders and maybe having a society with rules and laws. I wonder what they did with their country and what country they're running to so they can do the same thing with that country. I mean, come on, people, wake up.
Be under the age of 18. The cities that grow the fastest will be the most challenged as resources become constrained and illicit networks fill the gap left by...
Okay, urban development, they're showing these guys to the military saying, basically trying to push that, hey, we need to start planning and training for more urban warfare because this is what we're going to have to be fighting. Notice the protesters, notice the Black Lives Matter, notice the, whoever you want to call these guys, the Muslims, the peaceful Muslims, however you want to notice their faces are covered. This is key to most all riots and most all government revolutions, is hiding your face. Not only does it hide it, it protects it from smoke, debris, bullets that are fragmenting or hitting things, and shrapnel and dust. So that's just kind of a tactic situation that you're seeing consistently, and there's a reason behind it.
Overextended and undercapitalized governments. The risk of natural disaster.
Overextended governments. Gee, how do governments get overextended? Maybe they open their borders and allow people to flood in that don't work, that have no education, that are criminals, that see the U.S. as a great place to come because we had resources, we had more working people, we had a cultural a society that with the same values and the same language, and we raised our kids and educated our kids to have a great, strong country. Maybe, oh, never mind. It's just too complex for the simple-minded.
Climate changes, unregulated growth, and substandard infrastructure intersect to frustrate humanitarian relief. Growth will magnify the increasing separation between rich and poor.
That's key. The rich liberals, the Hollywood, weirdos that are funding the liberal left. Remember, it separates the rich. Hollywood loves being the richest guy in the area, the richest guy around, the most popular. And government is the same thing. And when the people don't control government, government will naturally follow the course of more power, more control, stop people from resisting, no different than kings did from the beginning of time. If you go against the king, we're going to crush you. We're going to have weapon control. We're going to have gun control. The government should be the only one with guns so we can protect you. And government ends up using those weapons on the unarmed citizens. It's history repeating itself over and over. Go get you a damn gun and don't give up your guns. I mean, I can't say it enough.
Religious and ethnic tensions will be a defining element of the social landscape. Stagnation will coexist with unprecedented development as impoverishment, slums, and shanty towns rapidly expand alongside modern
Gee, slums rapidly expand. I wonder what causes that. Oh, that's human growth, Rick. Oh, okay. That's bringing in and allowing more takers, more government-dependent people, more people with no skills, flooding your country with takers, and then expecting the countrymen that work, that provide, that pay taxes to support all these people. Remember, government doesn't make money. They print it, they devalue it, they hand it out and they spend it, but they don't work for it. They only seize it from others who work. At some point, the working people get a clue that we're tired of funding the government and all the people dependent on government. I mean, It's coming. People just don't realize how things are going to happen, but history will tell you if you just look.
Arises technological advances and ever-increasing levels of prosperity. This is the world of our future. It is one we are not prepared to effectively operate within.
Now, when he says we're not prepared to react within, remember, this is a Pentagon video being used for training so the military can concentrate on modifying their training for what they're going to have to deal with.
And it is unavoidable. Megacities are complex systems where people and structures are compressed together in ways that defy both our understanding of city planning and military doctrine. It is an ecosystem that demands a...
Oh, look at the poor Rick. Look at the poor little liberal giving the water. You should have a heart. It's cold. Look, people, videos and pictures like this, it just plays on your emotions. This is not what bringing in illegals and allowing Muslim immigrants and all these poor refugees to come into their country. This is not what you're seeing. This is what they want you to believe. They are not showing you the massive crime, drugs, homeless building, massive drain on the schools, massive drain on the medical, massive drain on the government taxpayers. When you see this picture, you don't think of all that negative. Rick is just so kind to... the liberal ignorance just drives me
agile
nuts.
An adaptive force to successfully operate within. Infrastructures will vary radically, with concentrations of high-tech transportation.
Notice all these people? Damn, look at that. All these people are white. This video must be racist. Notice they're dressed in... Notice they're going to work. Notice these are the providers. Yeah, I know that this has got to be racist. I'm just telling you, people. This is the video that they showed. I can't help which pictures. I'm just pointing out what they showed. Okay? Providers, workers, taxpayers. Okay? I'll point out some non-taxpayers
Globally
later.
Connected air and seaports, contemporary water, utilities, and waste disposal, intermixed with open landfills, overburdened sewers, polluted water, and makeshift power grids. Living habitats will extend from the high-rise to the ground-level cottage to subterranean labyrinths, each defined by its own
Non-workers, non-jobs, takers.
social code and rule of law. Social structures will be equally challenged.
Government, protection, helmets, masks, uniforms. Non-government. Non-worker, because there's no jobs. Why? Well, because the government has all control of the money and the jobs, and they've taken it over, and they've hired mandatory quotas of people that can't do the job, and they hired them because of their sex or color, and so now businesses can't operate efficiently, government can't operate efficiently, government grows, and citizens and worker jobs go away, and then you end up with citizens like this.
If not dysfunctional, as historic ways of life clash.
Non-workers, non-providers, takers, government. I got to point out these things. People don't understand who people are.
Ethnic and racial differences are forced to live together.
Ethnic and racial differences. Gee, ethnic, maybe Muslims, maybe they're talking about Muslims, maybe not. Maybe they're talking about all the Christians running from the places they destroyed and they're running here. But maybe they're talking about Muslims. Maybe they're talking about racial, what kind of racial issue you have? Are the Asians rioting? No. Are the Russians rioting? No. Rick, you're just picking on the Africans. Okay, I'm just trying to present facts, people, and stop putting the liberal spin and lies on it. Look at the facts.
And criminal networks offer opportunity for the growing mass of
covered face. Rick, maybe he's not a Muslim. Maybe it's cold out. Okay, maybe it is.
unemployed. This becomes the nervous system of non-nation state.
Okay, when government covers their face, I've said this before in other videos, this is a way that rioters and lawless people hide their identity and protect from certain things. When government does this in this situation, and these guys may be private security, I don't know if they're government or not, but there's SWAT teams out there that cover their face, and governments are covering their face. I don't like it. I never liked it. It causes someone to be anonymous. It causes them not to be accountable. It causes them to do things and wear masks to where they become their mass. And I talk about that in the Lucifer Effect. If you read the book, The Lucifer Effect, where he did the prison guard and he had these kids put on prison uniforms, and half were prisoners and half were guards. And both sides end up being who they were portraying. And when you put a mask on somebody, they end up being who they are portraying, either overuse of force. It's just not a good thing.
Unaligned individuals and organizations that live and work in the shadow.
You'll notice a common thing in most all riots is fire and smoke. Very effective. Usually the only thing that the government can't control, because they need to provide gas for people to work and pay taxes to support the government, and gas can always be used to burn things, to start fires, etc. So there's a common theme of always gas and fire in most all riots and revolutions, because that's the one thing that government, even though they know it's a weapon and they would love to control it and take it away from you stupid sheep, they have to give it to you so you can get to work and make money. Now, they would rather have all public transportation to where they control all the fuel, and then you wouldn't need fuel, and they could shut down the gas stations except for government, and then they could do it. And that may be a way they try to control it in the future, but in most all revolutions, gas, fire, and smoke is common because the government can't control it.
Of national rule, where physical domains can be seen, digital domains.
This is pretty good. These guys are all revolutionaries, terrorists, rioters, whoever you want to call them. Notice the common theme that they take from government or other combat troops. They have helmets, military helmets, motorcycle helmets, bicycle helmets. They all have something to protect their head so they don't get hit with a club. Their only weapon, because they gave up their guns like idiots, their only weapon against the government who has guns is sticks and clubs. But they have masks for the smoke and tear gas, and they have eye protection for protecting your eyes from the tear gas, pepper spray, smoke, etc., firing a gun, beating, whatever. So common theme, long sleeve jackets, puffy clothes, protection. Some of them have strapped arm protectors like makeshift armor. When people are riding and they don't have controls, they improvise. And these guys have improvised pretty good. Notice the gloves to protect the hands and fingers. Just simple clues that you see in a lot of conflict.
Will have limitless potential to breed and expand without limit. Digital security and trade will be increasingly threatened by sophisticated illicit economies and decentralized syndicates of crime to give adversaries global reach at an...
Okay, when they're talking about this black market, you know how black markets are created? When government taxes and does things and comes after you so hard that your only choice to make it is to deal with the black market so you can avoid the government reaching into your life at every step. From the moment you wake up, from the moment you're born till after you're dead and they're trying to take from you there, the government is in your life too much. Now you can't tell a liberal that because they think the government's good, they're there to help, and they want more government and more spending because that's the answer to always when you ask a liberal what the problem is.
Unprecedented.
It's a nice, it looks like an 870 shotgun. Ammo is big. You can't carry a lot of ammo, but it's pretty effective when you shoot somebody. Nice gun.
This will add to the complexities of human targeting, as a proportionally smaller number of adversaries intermingle with a larger and increasing number of citizens.
Military, government, non-workers, hats, face covered, Allah Akbar. Rick, why are you always picking up?
The scale and density of these domains is daunting. In a city of 10 million, where you hold the support of 99% of the population.
Workers, jobs, government, non-workers, takers, medical strain, education, resources, non-contributing. Rick, why you... Whatever.
The remaining 1% represents...
Remember, this is a government video. I'm just kind of pointing out things, people. Why you want to be a hater on me?
...represents a threat of 100,000. It is an environment of convergence, hidden among...
Non-jobs, non-workers, worker, government. Take heed, people.
The enormous scale and complexity of the megacity. These are the future breeding grounds, incubators, and launching pads for adversaries and hybrid threats.
I always have idiots tell me, just because somebody has a tattoo, don't make them criminal. Okay, this tattoo, when people tattoo on a face and do things like this, I don't know what this means. I can guarantee you it's a sign to other thugs that he's a member of a gang. He's a member of some sort of cult, society, or group that does not do good. This is not the sign of somebody that has a job who is giving away his paycheck to help others. Freaking idiots out here. Just because a guy's got a tattoo, you shouldn't do that. Shut up, freaking idiots.
Linked globally, these are man-made.
Beard, head covered, Khomeini, Aloha snack bar, whatever.
Labyrinths that provide refuge and movement across the vast sections of these cities where alternate forms of governance have taken control.
I don't know if this guy's government. See this weapon? This is a weapon. This is this is what happens when you give up these. You become this guy. When you give up your gun and your right to defend yourself, you become this guy. Okay? That's clue, people. Gosh, I can't believe I have to point out this shit.
The advice of doctrine, from Sun Tzu to current field manuals, has provided two fundamental options. Avoid the cities, or establish a cordon to either wait out the adversary, or drain the swamp of non-combatants and engage the remaining
Avoid the cities. Now, pretty soon there's not going to be places to run to. Just like I say, in government or in America, we keep flooding, we're destroying our city, we're allowing the liberals to totally destroy our culture, our borders, our language, our way of society. The liberals are constantly attacking it at every corner, and pretty soon there's not going to be a place to run. And when America falls, where are all these people that are coming here going to run to next? And where are the Americans who gave up their country going to run? Man, people just have to wake up. I just can't believe the way our country is going.
High-intensity conflict within.
Don't forget, I'm talking about a lot of things. This is a government Pentagon video.
Counterinsurgency doctrine, honed in the cities of Iraq and the mountains of Afghanistan.
Okay, helmets, eye protection, gloves, same thing the military uses, civilians are going to start using. You need to equip yourself the same way. You need, if you're fighting an adversary that wears this protection, you need to have the same protection. They're not wearing this for being cool or for their help. Another thing I noticed on here is, notice this guy's weapon is pointed for this side of cover. Over here, he can cover to the right or to his right. This guy can cover to his left. That's the way guns should be. This guy is probably an officer. He's got his gun pointed in the middle. Technically, his gun should be pointed this way, so he has coverage that way and can engage. If he engages his gun in a target this way, this guy is probably some freaking liberal who's out there. I don't know why he doesn't have a gun. He's got a uniform on. Maybe he's in a visor.
Is inadequate to address the sheer scale of population in the future urban reality.
Unable to address the sheer scale. Okay, so we know this. We're training this, and we're telling the military this. The government is training the government that we can handle the large scale in the future. And what's the answer? Liberals say open the borders, bring in more illegals, take in more refugees. Are you freaking kidding me?
From the streets of Aachen to the Citadel and Way, we have defeated adversaries who attempted to use urban terrain to their advantage. Urban conflict is written deep into the Army's histories. But in tomorrow's conflict, these megacities are orders of magnitude greater in complexity, and our current options do not meet strategic ends. Our future operations must allow us to rapidly return the city to the people. They will be too large and complex to isolate or cordon in their entirety.
Okay, so again, their training and their concept is we have to be able to turn it back over to the people, because the people are going to be so massive that we can't control it and we can't isolate it, or we have to just go and dominate and kill everybody. I mean, those are the only options when you allow your country to be overrun by people that have no ties to your country, no loyalty to your country, no patriotism. The liberals think patriotism is the enemy. They think patriotism is your domestic terrorists. They think the way this country was founded by the people that made it the greatest country in the world were all wrong, and now the liberals want to make it all right. And you know what? Stupid Americans are going along with it, so you get what you get.
Yet our soldiers will have to operate within these ecosystems with minimal disruption and flow.
Okay, non-worker, the person who owns his car that just lost it, was a worker. Went to work, saved money, produced, probably paid taxes. What did he get? He got what government gave him. He got what he elected in government. He allowed his government to destroy everything, and he's driving his damn little liberal freaking eco-economy, gas-powered, wind, solar, fart-powered car because he wants to save the environment. Meanwhile, he voted for the government that caused all of this, and he lost everything. We call that a clue. I realize there ain't nothing common about common sense. Freaking common sense is a superpower, but people better wake up.
Our current and past strategies can no longer hold. We are facing environments that the masters of war never foresaw. We are facing a threat that requires us to redefine doctrine and the force in radically new and
fire and gas. Great technique to distract. Government has a line. They have a plan. When you throw fire and gas into this plan, they can't execute their plan. They go into survival, get out, get away plan. They are not their plan to attack, stay in line, and take over an area and force their way in and take ground is changed when you throw fire. Now, people are always wanting to light Molotov cocktails before they throw them. If you have 10 people with bottles of gas, only one has to have fire. The other 10 can throw just a bottle of gas with no fire. It's fuel. He's fueling it, and the last guy throws the one that's lit, and it lights all the other gas. I mean, I just don't understand when I see a lot of this thing. People don't learn from throwing Molotov cocktails. Not everyone has to have one lidded. When you light it before you throw it, it gives away your position. They know who's throwing it. There's a lot of negatives that come when you do that. If you have 20 people with a bottle of gas that's sealed and they just all throw it and they all break, now you have a good fuel source that only one Molotov cocktail can ignite. Call that a training tip.
different ways. The future Army will confront a highly sophisticated urban-centric threat that will require that urban operations become the core requirement for the future land force. The threat is
Fire
clear.
and smoke.
Our direction remains to be defined. The future is urban.
All right. I don't know if you got anything out of this. You're probably going to complain about me pausing the video too much. Hopefully you got something. Again, I'm trying to just get people to think, wake up. Unfortunately, the liberals and the idiots who have been brainwashed by our government-controlled media and government-controlled education system and government-controlled parents that allow their kids to grow up and be liberals and never teach them about the country and their history, they're not going to watch this. They're going to think this is propaganda and this is just scare tactics and this will never happen here and we've never seen this and all we have to do is dial 911 and all this will be fixed because they're freaking idiots and they're not going to wake up until they're on fire or their car's on fire and then they're going to blame George Bush. All right, we'll end that there.